I think I'm live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another one of our LinkedIn Live events. And today's topic is going to be on overcoming the loyalty to hustle and creating with ease. This topic is very close to my heart because I've worked with many clients on this particular topic, and I haven't really spoken about this in detail. I have spoken about the overachiever's trauma. I have spoken about how hard work doesn't really yield results as we are told to or as we believe systemically. So this topic is going to be interesting, and I will be sharing with you a lot of really fun things, a lot of things that you haven't heard before, and a lot of things that will sort of instigate you to reflect on how you have been showing up. Now, there is a lot more to the hustle mentality and why you are the way you are, and we can't cover the entire thing in one live event. So, I will be talking about many things. However, there's still more to it, right? And that can only be revealed in one on one work that we do together. Okay, because that is where we will examine your system. That is where we are going to see what exactly is playing out in your particular family system. Because in the live event, I can talk about things that I have consistently seen as patterns in people who are very loyal to hustle, right? So before we begin, as usual, if you are joining for the very first time, uh, one of the lives that I do every week. How we go about it is that I'm going to explain to you one topic in depth, and you can ask me as many questions as you want. If you're watching this live, you can ask me in the comment section. It's visible to me. I check my phone, and if you're watching this as a recording on YouTube, then you could just mention it in the comment section, and I will be happy to reply there. And if you are in one of my free communities, the safe space or the trauma informed bootcamp community where all the trauma informed classes are done, then you can just DM me on WhatsApp and I'll be happy to send you an audio coaching. And of course, if you're not in my free communities, then you're missing out on a lot of gold. So just go and join there. I share a lot of free audio coachings every single day. I share a lot of write ups that are not shared on LinkedIn as well. Okay, so before we begin, I'm just going to check if I am live, and then we'll start. Okay, we are live. All right. So, if you see me looking down, it's just a bunch of notes that I have so that I make sure that I cover everything that I want to cover. So, before we go into overcoming, let's first understand what exactly is hustle, right? So, when I say hustle, what do I mean? Because you must have seen a lot of these Instagram teenagers, right? Hustle is the way to go, or these people who believe that, just do mindless hustle. Or, in fact, you must have even seen people in your family tell you that hard work is the key to success and hard work is how you should go far in life. Whereas you would look around and you would see a lot of people do work hard, but they don't get to the abundance that they actually want or that they desire for. So, if hard work is really the key to success, why is not everyone getting it? Why is it that some people do not work very hard yet they get what they want, and we have people who work really hard but they don't really get what they want, right? It is because there are multiple factors at play. But when it comes to hustle, we don't take their factors into consideration because we are so blinded by it. So if I had to define hustle for you, hustle is nothing but mindless hard work. Okay, hustle is when you deeply believe that I need to just keep at it. Right? I need to just keep at it, and I just need to keep working hard and hard and hard. And you are in this blind optimism and hope one day it will make sense. I don't know how, I don't know when, one day it will. Right now, I'm calling it blind hope and optimism because we're gonna learn what actually creating with ease and creating with strategic alignment means. Because when you are someone who's very loyal to hustle, which means that um like you are a hard worker by nature, and I'm not shunning hard work. What I mean is that you don't actually look at whether something requires hard work or not. So you have to understand that the world that we live in, okay, we live in intellectual economy. Okay, the work that we all do, I don't think anybody who watches my live is someone who is a manual laborer, someone who actually does a lot of manual labor. And I believe that anybody who's on my LinkedIn or who's watching this live is someone who does a lot of intellectual labor, or we require a lot of intellectual understanding, right? So we are white collar workers, we are not blue collar workers. So nothing that you do in your work actually requires you to work hard. Okay, what it does require you is to become intellectually quite sharp and intellectually quite to the point, right? So when you are loyal to hustle, you miss this obvious point. You believe in just working hard, and it's blind hard work. Now, how do you know it's blind hard work, or how do you know if you have the loyalty to hustle? There are a few things to keep in mind. I have mentioned this in the post that I wrote, maybe I think yesterday or a couple of days back, so please check that out as well. A few things that you will notice if you have loyalty to hustle is, first, you believe rest is laziness. You believe that if I'm resting, I'm not being productive enough. Guilt comes very easily to you when you are taking a break, or when you are just taking time for yourself. Like, you believe you have to earn your rest. Or whenever you're resting, the first question that comes to your mind is, have I done enough? Have I made enough money? Have I done enough for me to be resting? So this is the kind of mentality that you come from. Second is, you find taking help very difficult. You believe that I need to do everything on my own. I need to prove myself. You believe that taking any kind of help means that, oh my God, I owe something to someone, or oh, no, 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 I should be doing things on my own, or I'm going to have burden on my head and I'm going to have to give it back. So taking help feels very difficult to you, right? Third is, you probably take a lot of pride in hustle. You feel satisfied when you're exhausted. You feel like, oh my God, I have finally done enough work. So you measure your work in the base like on the basis of your exhaustion, on the basis of how many hours of work I have done. So you don't look at the impact that is being created, right? You look at, am I exhausted? Have I worked enough number of hours? Or like, when you tell people that I have worked this many number of hours, and that quantity is big, that is when you feel that, okay, I've done enough. Or when you tell people that, I worked only 2 hours or 3 hours, you feel guilty. You feel that there's something that's going wrong. Another very prominent belief that you may have is that the easy path does not exist, or that if you are taking an easy path, it's a fluke, it will not work out. Maybe you're just getting lucky, or you're just not smart enough, or that you basically have a very dysfunctional relationship with ease, right? You think ease is an enemy. You find a lot of comfort in hard work. To be very honest, hard work feels very familiar to you, right? It's systemically very familiar. Like, it's very easy for you to get exhausted. And of course, burnout, very very common. When I say burnout, I don't just mean physical burnout, okay? I mean mental burnout, where you've exhausted your mental capacity, your emotional capacity, to a point where you just feel like, I just don't have bandwidth to take anything anymore, right? So I'm talking about that kind of burnout, because burnout isn't always physical. Burnout actually first starts with mental and emotional and psychological, and then when it reaches to a point where your body just cannot take it anymore, it reaches to that physical breaking point when you get really sick. So if you're checking out any of these signs, maybe half of them, maybe all of them, maybe few of them, then you have loyalty to hustle. If you're checking out all of them, then the loyalty to hustle is very strong. If you're checking out few of them, the loyalty to hustle is there. And again, because it is a live event, I don't know each one of your systems, okay? I don't know who is watching this. So the only way we can find out how deep the loyalty goes and how entangled are you with this like struggle mentality, right? And again, another sign that I missed is, if you always feel life is a struggle for you, if you always feel that no matter what I do, I'm going to have to struggle, because things just do not come easily to me, right? Like, this is a belief that you either consciously or unconsciously have, that things are not easy in life, you have to work hard for it, or that there is like inherent struggle if you want something in life. So when, again, that is the kind of belief system you have, a sign that you there is loyalty to hustle, right? And why I'm using the word loyalty to hustle, because hustle is something that we create, okay? At any point of time, life happens the way we want it to happen for us. And I don't just mean consciously, I mean unconsciously also. Some of you believe that I want an easy life, but you don't actually embody that ease in your life. You're still very loyal to hustle, you're still very loyal to these very tight belief systems around hustle. You want an easy life, yet you're not willing to let go of this struggle mentality. That doesn't work, okay? So if you have loyalty to hustle, then life will be a struggle. It's just a basic fact. If you have loyalty to ease, you will always find an easier path in your life, always. So that is why I'm calling it loyalty to hustle. It is not that hustle finds you, you find hustle. I want you to understand that. You attract it into your life. So that is what we want to look at today, that why do we actually do that. So again, as I said, that if you resonate with any of those signs that I've mentioned, and again, there could be more signs, but I'm talking about the most visible ones, tangible ones that you can look out for. If you do relate to any of these, and of course the loyalty runs deep. Now, coming to the most important part, why doesn't hustle work? Now, there is some part of the population who are aware that, okay, hustle is not working for me, But there is also a very large part of population who believe that no, hustle works, like hustle is working for me, that is the only path, or that things are just not easy for me, or that this is a fluke and the easy part doesn't exist. So I want to talk about why hustle actually does not work, right? And I don't mean from a perspective of um like psycho spiritual perspective, right? Obviously, if you believe that hustle is working for you, that is not going to land on you. I want to talk about the practical things today so that it actually fits in your head. Okay, the first thing is that when you believe that hustle is the only path, you become very averse to an easy path. So, for example, let's say you and I are working on a project. Okay, let's say we are working in a company, and let's say we have certain designation, whatever, and we're working on the same project. Let's say I am someone who has a loyalty to hustle, and you don't. Okay, and we have been given the same project. We both have the same skill set. We both have been given the same timeline, right? When I have the loyalty to hustle, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go dive deep into it. I need to do this, I need to do that. How do I do this? How do I do that? The instant reaction will be to dive into it from a place of stress, from a place of reaction, and from a place of attack. Okay? If you are someone who doesn't have the loyalty to hustle, what you're going to do is you're going to take a step back. You're going to look at the project in its entirety. You're going to find what is the easiest path I can take here. So when you look at that, you're going to find, okay, this is something I can take help for. This is something I can delegate. This is something I can outsource to probably a tool. And this is something that I need to do, let's say, right away. This is something that needs to be more visible. This is something that I believe does not need to be more visible. So you're going to strategize first, right? You're going to strategize first, and then you're going to go into that. Now, what will happen? Since I have a loyalty to hustle, my mind will not work like that. Why? Because I believe hard path is the right path. So I will take the hard path. I will take longer. I will be exhausted. I will take more time. I will be frustrated in the entire process. And if I make a mistake, I will criticize myself. So the entire project will be extremely stressful for me. For you, it will not. Why? Because you always believe in ease. So you will always find an easier path. For me, taking help from someone would mean, oh my God, people will think I'm stupid. Why? Because I have the loyalty to hustle. For you, taking help would be the smart thing. You will not take it on your ego. You will not think, oh my God, what will people think of me? Why? Because you believe in getting the work done the smart way. You will be, the entire time, you will be happier, and you will be more satisfied, and you will not be exhausted. So, when it comes to presenting a project, let's say both of us get it done, the way you communicate and the way I communicate is going to be very different. I will come from a place of franticness. I will come from a place of anxiety, restlessness, and I will be worried. Have I done a good enough job? You will be confident, you will be at ease, you will not have anxiety, and you will be very open. Let's say our we have a common boss, and that boss gives us feedback. I will find the feedback very heavy. Why? Because to me, feedback would mean, oh my God, I'm going to have to now correct this. It was so exhausting. Now I'm going to have to do the entire thing again. It's not that I will not do. I will do it with so much burden that I will either end up making mistake, or I will do a subpar job. Or even if I do a good job, I will be so exhausted that it will be visible in my communication, in my energy. And that energy will communicate to my boss that I don't like my work, or I'm not fit for it. Yeah? For you, that will not be the case. You will take feedback very easily. Why? Because to you, getting the project done was not an exhausting cycle. You did it easily. You will exude confidence. I will not. Why? Because loyalty to hustle. That's the biggest difference. Okay? If not even the biggest, a very prominent difference. People who have loyalty to hustle may get the job done. I'm not saying always, because they don't get it always done. May get the job done. And even in the may, let's say half the time they're getting the job done really nicely, they're going to become so bitter by the end of it, so exhausted by the end of it, that either it will be a one time thing for them, they will not be able to repeat their success, or the people they are working with will not want to work with them, because nobody likes to work with bitter, exhausted people. Always remember that. We all like confident people. We all like people who are easygoing. We all like people who don't make work seem like, oh my God, I'm going to die. None of us like that energy. So when you have loyalty to hustle, you will not take the easy path, because easy path is not obvious to you. You find familiarity in taking the hard path. And as a result of this, there will be a lot of blockages around you. Not being able to delegate, being a people pleaser, having ego issues, believing I can't take help, a lot of stuff that contributes to this hustle mentality. And this is going to stop you from actually being an efficient worker or even a likable colleague for that matter. This is, I'm giving an example of the corporate setting. I run a business. Okay, I'm a solopreneur. I have a one-person business. That applies to me too. When I'm exhausted, that shows up in my energy, and that's going to show up to my clients. I'm not going to be able to do my job well as a coach. That's the first difference. The second thing is, because of this, loyalty to hustle, you are actually going to believe that ease is not possible only. So even if you have easier path in front of you, you will not take it. You will be very pessimistic. You will be very doubtful. You will believe, like in Hindi we say, right? ऐसा तो हो ही नहीं सकता. It cannot happen only. Ease doesn't exist. It's not real. It's fluke, or maybe they just, they're just faking it, right? So ease doesn't exist for you. So because of it, right, let's say you and I have the same amount of time in a day, we have the same skill set, we are starting at level 0. And if I have the loyalty to hustle and you don't, I'm going to take a very long time to get to my goals. You will not. And even while I get to my goal, I will be exhausted, bitter, probably have a lot of health issues, and I will not actually be able to enjoy my work at all in any form or way. For me, it will be a chore. For you, it will not be. You will have a balanced life. You will have a great family life. You will have a great communication with your partner. Your relationships will be better. Why? Because you're not exhausted, right? For me to give equal attention to everything in my life, or even if not equal proportion attention, I have to have the energy for it. If I don't have the energy, I just cannot give. I've given everything to my hustle only. And that is why people who have loyalty to hustle never have consistent great relationships. Never. They will always steal their time from their relationships, their kids, their partners, their parents, themselves also, their friends, and give it to the hustle. Never think that the energy you have for hustle is infinite. You are stealing it from somewhere. And that somewhere is your personal life. So even if you manage to do great work in your professional life, because you have loyalty to hustle, you are going to have a disbalanced or unsatisfied personal life. And I have seen this in every single case, in every single client case I've had. I've had endless consultation calls, and I've seen this every single time. I've not found a single person who has loyalty to hustle and actually is happy and satisfied in the personal life. And why do we work at all? Why do we do anything? To have a balanced life, to have people we can share it with. But what if I'm so exhausted because my loyalty to hustle is just so stubborn? What's the point of any of it? When I don't have connection, when I don't have relationships, when I don't have the time and energy to be present with the people I love because I've given everything, it's useless. And this brings me to the third point, which is something again a lot of people realize late with time. But if you're watching this live, then you're lucky. You're listening to it, and I hope you internalize it. Hustle always leads to wasted time, potential, and effort because you think you're doing the right thing, but you're not. You're just taking the hard path. There is no reward for it. Just because you're struggling doesn't make you a moral person, a good person, or a right person. Understand that. It does not make you that. It just makes you a person who likes to struggle. You can make it good in your head if you want to. That's your call. But it doesn't translate into anything in real life. So again, if I have a loyalty to hustle, I'm going to take longer. I'm going to waste my time trying to prove, oh, hard path is the right path. I'm going to waste my potential in the path in the meanwhile time. And of course my effort is also going to be get wasted. But if you don't have the loyalty to hustle, you will take the same task and you will do it in an easier, smarter, and more efficient way. Why? Because you believe that ease exists. So it will take me longer, so my success will also be delayed. The rewards and the abundance I want will be delayed, if at all it comes. Most people give up in the middle when they've loyalty to hustle, because how do you carry on with so much exhaustion? You can't. You will become bitter, you will become resentful, and you will want to give up. And that is why hustle never leads to consistent success. It may lead to one time success, sure, but you will not be able to repeat it. The thought, oh my god, I have to do all of it over again, won't be able to do it. And the next thing is that it also keeps the intergenerational trauma alive. So we're going to talk about how like hustle is also a result of intergenerational trauma, which means trauma that is getting passed down from the older generations to the younger generations. This is going to keep it alive if you don't do trauma work around your loyalty to hustle. And again, I'm going to talk more about it. But you're going to transfer this hustle mentality to your kids also, and they're going to also grow up with a lot of tightness within them. Now let's talk about why does this loyalty exist, because you want to understand it at a deeper level. Okay, so I'm going to quickly check if I'm still live, because I get paranoid that my live event has gone off. Okay, I am live, so that's good. All right, we are going to continue. Somebody has asked about the bootcamp link. So, do you see this blue line going? Okay, you can just DM me bootcamp and I would be happy to share the link with you. But also, you can just find it in the featured section of my profile. So, if you just click on my LinkedIn profile, like you see a small photo, just click on it and go to the featured section, just scroll and you will find everything there. You will find the free boot camps. You will find the boot camps that are priced at a very reasonable rate, but have like trauma healing sessions, and you can also go for that. And of course, if you're interested in doing deep one-on-one work and you want permanent shifts, then the best is to do one-on-one work with me. So you can also book a session from there. And of course, if you still cannot find it, you can always DM me. That is also fine. Now, going ahead, why does the loyalty to hustle exist? Like, how did it come about? Now, if you've ever worked with me or if you have seen my content, you know that I'm a very, very big fan of understanding your problem at a deeper level first. Okay. No tips, tricks, hacks ever works to bring about a permanent shift in your behavior or in your life. You have to do deep work. Anybody who tells you shit like this, that do this technique, do this, do that, they're lying. It doesn't work. Believe me, even the ones who are telling you this nonsense have done deep work to bring about shift in their life. Okay, so trauma work is always the answer. You have to do it to bring a permanent shift. Otherwise, you're just going to keep on repeating the same issue again and again. And I'm saying this because I have had people in the past who have worked with me and who have told me that, Rianshi, I've changed many therapists, still the issue comes back again and again. Why is it happening, and all of that stuff. So I always tell them that talk therapy is not always the answer. Okay, you need to do deep work, you need to do somatic work, and that can only happen with the trauma informed coach. And you have to give it time. Okay, it's not a one session thing. Can't do that. If you have like had a problem with 2 3 decades, you have to give it at least a few months. No, coming back to the point, why does the loyalty exist? Okay, the first point, which is a very obvious one, and yet we ignore it, is your lineage experiencing struggle. So what do I mean by this? So whenever I'm working with my clients, okay, I do something called a traumagram session with them. So what is a traumagram session is where I actually have a session with them wherein I draw an entire family chart of them. So we study both the maternal and paternal side of your family, and we see the experiences of your parents and your grandparents, and what is the system trying to tell us, right? Because there are stories in your family, there are emotions that are vibrating at a certain level that has gotten passed down to you. Now when your lineage has experienced struggle, let's say your grandfather lost a lot of land, your father struggled financially a lot, your mother has seen a lot of poverty, so there is clearly a lot of struggle present in the family system. So when there's a lot of struggle present in the family system, there is a loyalty to struggle. Okay. Now I'm going to explain to you both like this in a biological as well as psychospiritual perspective. Biologically speaking, um, you have to understand that when your parents have experienced a lot of stress, okay, their body is swimming in stress hormones, so that gets imprinted onto their DNA. So when you are born, or when you were inside your mother's womb, and there's been genetic contribution both from your father and your mother, it carries that stress hormone, so it gets passed down to you. And that is why kids with stressful parents are very much prone to anxiety, very much prone to depression, and you can see this as a very obvious thing around you or in your own family. The second, the psychospiritual perspective, is that like there is like spirit of struggle involved. So whenever even you do want to move towards these, the pull of the past trauma, the pull of the intergenerational trauma is very strong. Okay, it keeps you stuck there in the struggle. Like there is this unsaid loyalty to your ancestors, and maybe to your father, your mother, your grandparents, somewhere in the system, that I'm going to struggle like you, and that is how I feel close to you, because we always you know we always follow the path of our family system, right? It takes inner work for us to break that cycle in a healthy way, and then move forward. So that is a psychospiritual perspective. So when I'm working with my clients, we work on both of these. Okay, we work on the intergenerational trauma, and so that we release it from your body so you can move forward with ease. The problem with most of us is not that we don't know how. A lot of people obsess how is the ease. How is not the problem. The problem are the unsaid loyalties. The problem is the pull of the trauma. The problem is the grief that lives in your body as trauma. Intellectually, you know everything. I believe that every single person who's in my community or attends my live events is already a pretty smart person, because I don't talk about fluffy shit. I never talk about do this, write 100 times, go and stand in front of the mirror. Life is easy. I don't speak bullshit like this. So I know people who consume my content are already smart people who value depth in their life, right? So I want you to understand that intellectually you know everything. I'm not doubting that, and I know that you know. What you need to do is you need to bring about a bodily understanding, because you can know everything intellectually, but when trauma lives in the body, because your body has to do the work, no? It's like your mind is the boss, your body is the employee. It doesn't matter what the boss knows or understands. If it is not translating to the employees, it's not going to happen. So when I'm working with my clients, we work on this. We work on releasing the trauma from the body so the ease can bring about through your body. When it doesn't feel like, even though I know what I want, even though I know how to do it, I'm still unable to do it. So no, how is not your problem. Your problem is the embodiment of ease, and that will only happen through one-on-one trauma healing work. Now coming to the second point, and this is where I want to talk about a little bit of trauma themes, so that you actually understand why this happens. And again, I can't possibly cover all of it because each of your system is different, each of your childhoods are different, but these are some common ones that I've seen throughout my client cases. The second one is you were only seen and loved when you worked hard. So this is an interesting one. So something you have to understand is that you as a child, right? You look for safety and you look for love to your parents, and you will throughout your life, throughout your adult life, you're going to repeat the blueprint that you have solidified as a child. And the blueprint gets solidified when you are seen and loved and paid attention to for something. So whatever you are appreciated for by your parents, specifically by your parents, because you look for safety in them, you find safety, you find love, and you find that I'm worthy, right? Through them. So whatever it is that they've appreciated you for, you will do that throughout your life. So when your parents always took pride that you worked hard, always told you hard work is the key to success, in fact appreciated you when you worked hard and not when you took the easy path, then you will find a way to always hustle. When your parents always like appreciated you when you were struggling, appreciated you when you studied for long hours, appreciated you for the fact that you were putting in a lot of effort, then you're going to do that your entire life. And this is a very unconscious thing that happens, by the way. As a child, you internalize every reaction that your parent gives, every single thing that your parent says, and you like it compounds and it becomes a part of you, right? So that's the first thing. When you were always seen and appreciated and loved for the hard work that you did, you will internalize it. The second thing is when your parents always told you hard work is the key to success. So this is an interesting thing. Now, it is not a wrong thing to teach your kids that hard work is the key to success. In fact, like my parents also taught me that. And I'll tell you something that happened in my personal life. So when I started my coaching business, right, and this is something that I learned after I went on my solopreneur journey, because entrepreneurship is just so spiritual in nature as well. It pushes you to your highest potential. I realized that working hard is not going to make any difference into my business. I need a lot of sharp, focused work, right? And that involves sharpness of my brain, rather than the hours I'm putting in. So in the beginning, when I realized that okay, my coaching business does not require a lot of hours. So for example, even today, even though I make the money that I want to make, I have great clients, and I charge what I want to charge, I don't work for more than 3 to 4 hours a day. I'm talking about a full day of work, right? But the coaching that I'm giving to my clients is sharp, focused, and creates transformations, right? So initially when I started, it felt very alien to me. It used to feel like, oh my god, I just work 3 4 hours a day and there are people who are making less money than me and they're working far more than me. So I used to feel that maybe it's just luck, maybe it's just happening to me, maybe it's beginner's luck or something, or maybe I'm just lazy. So I try to dumb down myself. Like I couldn't accept the fact that I'm actually smart enough to get things done faster. So even for marketing, for coaching, it took me very less time to catch things because I've always been a great learner, right? And I was passionate about my work. So the thing is that when you're passionate, things just happen faster for you. So it took me some time to unlearn the fact that hard work, when your parents are teaching you hard work is the key to success, they don't mean actually work hard. They mean that whatever it is that you're doing it, do it with full focus. But a child doesn't understand that, right? When your parents have always taught you hard work is the key to success, your loyalty to what they have taught is going to be very high, which means that you will find a way to work hard, even if it is not required, even if it is something that's completely unnecessary. Now you may say that okay, you do need to put in the work when you want to become good at something. Yes, and I will come to that, the kind of work that you actually need to put in. I'm talking about people who just make their life harder, like they find some way or the other to feel dissatisfied if things are happening easily for them. And I was one of those people, by the way. I was one of those people. I couldn't accept that I can get things easily, or I can get things done faster. For a very long time, like in the first entire year of my business, I used to feel like, oh my god, what do I do with my time? Because I used to get done with my work very fast. It didn't take me a lot of time. If I woke up somehow early, and for me early is 9 a.m., my work would be done by 2 p.m. Now I enjoy it. Now I actually enjoy the business that I've built, but in the beginning I did not. I found a way to make my life difficult. And that is what happens to a lot of people who grew up with this belief. They find a way to make their life difficult. They will find a way to take on extra work. They will find a way to discredit their smartness, discredit their speed or acumen. Now the next part is called the receiving wound. Receiving wound is characterized by when receiving your parents was very difficult for you, right? So when you're born, right, the way you receive your parents, when I say receive, I don't just mean your parents are giving you something. I mean the love, attention, and the energy you received from them. So how you received your parents is going to determine how you receive everything in life. So maybe mom's love and attention and energy was never present, right? She was always busy. You always had to ask for attention, or even if she gave you attention, she had to go and tend to something else, or you had to cry a lot. You had to, like, something had to happen for you to receive her attention and love, or she only loved and appreciated you or gave you attention when you were achieving something. So receiving love and attention from mom and dad, specifically from mom, was difficult. This leads to receiving wound, and again, right, it leads to a blueprint of your life, wherein you start to inherently understand that receiving anything in life is going to be difficult. This translates into receiving abundance, success, financial success in life through difficulty. Because in your system, receiving easily doesn't exist. Because receiving from mom wasn't easy, no. Mom was always busy. You had to do something to earn her attention, to earn her love, to earn her energy as a child. So now it has become a part of you. Receiving anything is difficult. If things want to come easily to you, you reject it. For example, such people find it very difficult to take financial help, find it very difficult to take out a loan to invest in themselves, find it very difficult to basically do anything for themselves, or even take any kind of help. These people have the most toxic relationship with money. People who have receiving wounds, I've seen it all the time. They find it difficult to invest in their own brain, their own healing as well, because they think that no, I have to earn that, right? It is because they feel very undernourished, and that undernourishment comes from the receiving mood. So this also leads to loyalty to hustle. The next point is that your parents always preferred hustle over ease. So if you used to get things done easily, they were not very impressed. They didn't seem very excited as compared to when you were working for long hours, studying for long hours, putting in like a lot of effort. They preferred effort over ease. And again, as I told you, right, as a child, um, you basically look for what is right and wrong based on what your parents' reaction to it is, because your mode of understanding the world is them, no? They are the blueprint for you. So whatever it is that you do, you look for them for approval and appreciation. So whatever they approve you for and whatever they appreciate you for, you do more of that. So when they appreciate you for hustle, you will do more of that, right? Now, coming to the second part of our live event today, which is how to actually create with ease. So far, we've understood why hustle exists, why it is useless, and how can you identify that you have the ability to hustle. Now, we're going to talk about how to actually create with ease. Before I do, I'm just going to again see if the live is going fine and if you have any questions. Okay, I think we're doing fine. I don't know if it's like for some reason my LinkedIn is loading like very slowly. Yeah, I think we're doing fine. We don't have any questions so far, so we're just gonna go ahead. So I want you to know that sometimes the concepts I talk about in my live events, they're quite deep and they may require you to actually sit with it to understand it. Just give me a moment. There's a airplane flowing nearby. Yeah, I think it's gone. Okay, so as I was saying, that sometimes some concepts that I talk about, they require you to have a background understanding of how trauma works and how trauma exists. So if you're someone who's very new to my universe and you're just entering it through probably this live event, I want you to go watch the free boot camps I've done, because that's going to give you an excellent foundation to internalize this deep work. Okay, so which means you can start with healing childhood trauma. That's the 4-day boot camp. Again, you can find it in the feature section of my profile. If you are looking for relationship healing relationship wounds, I just did a free boot camp on that also. That is also available on my top mid page, and I'm gonna stick it onto my feature section also. And then if you're someone who wants to experience what is healing the inner child is like, that boot camp is also available. It was converted into a like paid class, a small class. It's again a 4-day boot camp. It's again available in the feature section of my profile. So this all of this is going to give you a lot of background into understanding the depth of the work that we do. Because always remember, okay, there is no shortcut to a aligned version or expansive version of you. There is a see, think about it, no? If there were a shortcut, don't you think we all would have done it by now? If the nonsense on internet would actually work, the shortcut, right, the tips and tricks and techniques and all that nonsense, we all would have done it by now, right? But that's not the answer. The deep work is the answer. It takes time for you to understand your own story. Tips, tricks and techniques, these are very generic things. Okay, even they may work only when deep work is working for you. Otherwise they'll give you temporary relief, they will give you a high, and you will go back to feeling miserable and go back to the same patterns. So the concepts I talk about sometimes in live events are a bit deep, and they may take you time to reflect on it and understand it. So take your time. Okay, there is no rush, but do the right kind of work. Don't go running behind nonsense, because I've seen people do that and then come back to me after 4, 5, 6 months and tell me, yeah, and shit didn't work, right? So I think instead of wasting your time, take your time to do deep work. Okay, take your time to understand your own issues and then work on it with a trauma informed coach. You can work with me or anyone else, I don't care about that, but do the right kind of work. Okay, because the more you fool yourself into believing that there is a shortcut to becoming expansive, the more you delay your own progress, right? The more resentment it builds up for your own self. Don't do that. Do it slow, but do it right. Now, coming to how to actually create with ease. Now, when I say ease, what do I mean by that, right? Ease is nothing but alignment. Alignment of everything in your life. So, For example, let's talk about ease in your career path or in your career for that moment. Again, this translates to everything in your life, relationships and every part. But let's talk about career for a moment because that's like more tangible, right? Now, when I say alignment in your career path, what do I mean? Right? Only alignment in your career path will lead you to feel ease in your career path for you to actually get the success, the money, the recognition that you want in your career path easily. Now, alignment comprises of three things: the right purpose, the right emotion, and the right action. Do you know how most people choose their career paths and why they stay mediocre there or why they never experience the satisfaction or the abundance they want? It's because their career paths come from a place of fear, scarcity, that this feels like the easiest path, so let me do that. This is the path that my uncle said, my parents said, so let me do that. This path feels like this is going to make me the most amount of money because it helped my cousin, it helped my friend, so I'll do that. In the beginning itself, your purpose is completely wrong. There is no purpose only. This is blind following. I'll do an MBA, I'll do engineering, I'll do this, I'll do that because everybody's doing it. So the purpose in itself is wrong. So first step of alignment is already lost there. Okay. Then because the purpose is not there, you're doing it for all the wrong reasons, right? Because you have to understand, doing something out of fear doesn't last. There will come a point where you will be exhausted from your own fear and you will give up then, or you will reach mediocrity. You will stop growing. So you start out like that, right? You start out with the wrong purpose only. Now, again, there's nothing to blame. We all start out like that, mostly, specifically people in third world countries, because we have a history of a lot of struggle and poverty and shame as a result of it. I'm talking about the people who are aware that they're on the career paths that are not serving them. They still choose to not do inner work and they still choose to be in this blind hope that one day it will make sense. It doesn't make sense, right? That's why people have midlife crisis in 30s and 40s these days. So the point is, when the purpose in itself is wrong, it's fueled by scarcity, it's fueled by fear, it's fueled by I need to prove myself to my parents or things like that. That's the first pillar of alignment gone. The second is, because of it, the emotions and the actions will also be completely misaligned. No, on a daily basis you're going to feel dissatisfied. On a daily basis you will feel I'm being inauthentic. On a daily basis you will fight the fear and the scarcity and everything. And as a result, your action is also going to reflect that. Your actions will not be bold, your actions will not be empowered, your actions will always also come from a place of fear, because the action you take is very, very motivated by the emotions you feel on a daily basis. Somebody who's fearful will never take bold action. Somebody who's disempowered will never take empowered actions. That's a rule. It's a very simple rule. Somebody who's always underconfident will never take confident actions, right? So alignment is alignment of all of these things: right purpose, right emotions, and right actions. Now let's take an example. Okay, let's say that you have found the right purpose. For example, let's say you have decided to go for a career path that you actually feel aligned by, that you feel motivated by, that you believe that okay, this is the right path for me, right? You have to look at the second and third parameter, then the emotion and the action part. For a lot of people, even if they have managed to find a career path that is aligned with them, the emotional hygiene is missing. There's a lot of unhealed trauma from the past. There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, a lot of doubt, very lower level emotions, right? Shame, fear, guilt, anxiety. And your entire time is wasted fighting that. See, you have a limited amount of time. You can either use it to grow in your career, since we're talking about career, to grow your abundance, or you can waste it by firefighting these low level emotions. A lot of people do the latter and they get exhausted and they believe why the progress is not happening, right? The progress is not happening because the effort is going into the wrong place. The effort is going there. Firefighting lower level emotions, firefighting the shame and the guilt you feel every day, firefighting the anxiety you feel every day. Just give me a moment. Yeah, I'm back. Sorry. So, coming back to the point I was making, if you are spending your entire time just firefighting your anxiety, guilt, shame, fear of failure, underconfidence, then how will the progress happen? The energy is going somewhere else, no? So, if you have found the right purpose, or maybe you feel aligned with the career path that you're on, and again, I'm just talking about the career path, this can go into relationship also. I'm not going into that aspect today. Then you have to take care of your emotional hygiene because energy is going somewhere, right? Either it's getting utilized in the right form or it's going into firefighting things. So, like for you to progress in your life, it needs to go towards the right place. It needs to go towards abundance. That will only happen when you feel internally safe, where there is inner safety. And inner safety is what? Absence of trauma and inner safety. And when I say inner safety, I mean all the emotions that you require to move forward: confidence, boldness, feeling empowered. Trauma and this cannot coexist, and this translates into the right actions. Okay, now I'll tell you what, when you take care of your emotional hygiene, right actions will just follow, because when you are someone who doesn't have the inherent trauma that you're carrying, or you're actually working on it, action will come very very will come from a state of flow only. It's a very automatic thing. As human beings, we are designed to take action. If you're not taking action, then there is something that you're not worked on, emotionally speaking. So when you have taken care of this, action will follow. But let's take an example. Maybe that you have emotional hygiene as well, and even then you're not able to take the right actions. Then again, work with a trauma informed coach, so that you can study why it's happening. Is it because you don't have clarity? Is it because you don't have enough confidence? Is it because you don't have the right direction? It could be multiple things, right? But to be very very honest, there's a very rare or slight chance that you have the right kind of purpose and right kind of emotional hygiene, and yet you're not able to take the right action. It's a very rare case. If it is the case, then it's a very small problem. Frankly, it'll take just a few sessions to work on it, right? So that is what we call alignment. Right purpose, which is the right path, which is the path that you're walking actually feels like it's your calling. Emotional hygiene, that you don't have unhealed trauma. And the right actions, right, which means that you're actually systematically taking the right actions, right? Not the actions that screams loyalty to hustle, not the actions that is exhausting you, not the actions that makes you feel like, oh my god, what am I doing? But the action that is systematic in nature, that is sharp, that is focused. That is what we call the right actions, right? And that is how ease is actually formed. That is what we call ease. It is a result of all the three things. That is how you actually practice ease. So if you currently don't have ease in your life, evaluate among either all the three is missing, or maybe just one is missing, or maybe two is missing. That's your call to figure out. Or you can always like have a coaching session with me and we can figure it out together. But I think it's pretty easy to figure it out on your own as well. Now, the next thing is ease first happens inside and then outside. Now, this is something that you have to understand. You can only create outside of you whatever is inside of you. If you have a lot of unhealed trauma that you're struggling with every single day, right? How do you know you have unhealed trauma? Again, if you've watched the bootcamp, you would know. If you have not watched it, please go watch it. But some are very obvious signs. If you find, like, if you read my post, you will find it out. Constant anxiety, constant feeling like I don't have self worth, I don't feel enough, struggling, always attracting struggle in life, like always creating a cycle of exhaustion, facing a lot of troubles in every area of your life, stuff like that. So, when you are fighting with it from inside, you cannot expect that life will be easy for you, because we only give what we have, and that goes towards our career and relationships also. So, since I'm talking about the career part here, you can't expect ease in your career where there is no ease inside of you. When you're consistently struggling every single day, fighting your anxiety, fighting your fears, fighting the shame, fighting lack of worthiness, fighting low self-worth, when that is something you're doing every single day, you can't expect that you're going to create anything else outside of you. That does not work. So you have to first fix what is going on inside of you. Only then you will be able to create it outside of you. So, for example, let's say you're running a business and you want to raise your prices. You will be able to only raise it outside of you when you feel worthy of it inside of you. Otherwise, you will not be able to even quote the price. Or similarly, let's say if you want a promotion and you're looking for a better hike, how will you even ask for a better number if you don't even feel worthy of it inside of you? Even if you manage to ask it somehow out of fear, fighting your insecurity, fighting your anxiety, the moment you join the company, you will suddenly start feeling, oh, I'm not worthy of it. You will start self sabotaging. So, you have to first create ease inside of you, because only then it will get projected outside, When you don't do the inner work, anything you do outside of you will either never happen, or even if it happens through a lot of struggle, because it will happen through struggle only if the inner work is not done, then you will self sabotage it. You do it, then self sabotage. Why? Because the deservingness hasn't developed inside, no? You don't actually feel worthy of it. You don't actually feel I deserve it. So you will find a way to self sabotage it. That is why do the right work first, do the foundation work first. That's the inner work. And the next thing is unhealed trauma and ease cannot coexist together. Because what trauma does to your body is that it screams that we are in danger. Because trauma makes you feel unsafe from inside. And unsafe non-safety is not just physical non-safety, somebody's coming to kill you with a knife. Non-safety is your body feeling that I have something to fight for, right? And that is why people who have unhealed trauma, they are always in this flight, fight, or freeze mode. They're always exhibiting some sort of trauma response. Either they're frozen, unable to move forward in life, they're fighting, struggling very hard, or the flight response, they're fleeing away from the responsibility, right? Somewhere or the other, they're exhibiting trauma response. So your body is feeling unsafe, no? So you're fighting. So when you are fighting, energy is going there. How will the ease come? No energy left for ease. All energy is gone in firefighting. So trauma and ease cannot coexist. So you need to do your inner works for ease to actually happen. It's foolish to think that I will keep on struggling and yet somehow magically I will also feel ease. Can't happen, no? You have to create ease. And ease happens in the absence of struggle, internal struggle. I'm not talking about external struggle. Nobody is externally struggling, okay? Because we are white collar laborers, right? Like we are intellectual workers, right? Like none of us is like uh, I don't know, doing a lot of physical labor, right? So ease cannot happen when the trauma exists. So work on it, right? Work on healing it. Do the deep inner work that's required. Now, these were some principles I want to talk about ease. Now let's talk a little bit on a practical aspect on how to create it. Okay. So the first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to write the top three beliefs that instantly comes up when you think of I can get whatever I want easily in life. Now, whatever you want can be anything. It could be certain amount of money, recognition at work, maybe recognition in your relationship, whatever you want. I don't care. I want you to think of it that this can happen very easily in my life. And I want you to tell me the top three instant thought that comes up for you. I've done this exercise with a few of my clients. For some of them, it has come up, it's not possible. हो ही नहीं सकता in Hindi we say हो ही नहीं सकता. It's not possible. It's not meant for you. You're not that lucky. You're not that privileged. Ease only exists for rich people. Ease only exists for people who have money. Ease only exists for special lucky people, and you're not one of those. I don't know what comes up for you, but I want you to write that down. Those three thoughts are the first level of barrier. That's something you need to work on with your coach, because this is where the beginning of the work starts. This is the first level of barrier, because here itself the ease goes to die. Because how will the ease pass through when you've told it? No, you are not here only. You are not allowed in my system. Can't come, no? So, the three beliefs that have come up for you, work with a trauma informed coach so that you can work on these beliefs. How do you work on these beliefs? If the beliefs are very strong, which in most cases they are, because hustle, loyalty to hustle is something that does not come about in a day, okay? It's an intergenerational thing. Then you need to do trauma work on it. Simply talking about it isn't going to help, and that is why talk therapy doesn't work for most people. The pattern keeps repeating. Do trauma resolution on this, do inner child work and intergenerational trauma work on this. And of course, if you need help with it, I'm always here. You can always book a session with me also. You can work with someone else. But understand that this is the first level of barrier that you need to cross. Another exercise I want you to do, or rather than exercise, something I want to talk about, is I want you to study what is your relationship with output in life. Which means, um, like, do you believe that your self-worth is tied with how much you're achieving and how much you're producing in life? This could be how much money you are making. This could be how much I'm achieving in my career. This could be how much work am I doing in my household also. What is your relationship with output? Because 99.99% of the time, what I've seen is people who have like loyalty to hustle, they have a very tight relationship with output. Their self-worth is tied with output. They believe if I make more money, I'm more valuable. If I'm working hard, I'm more valuable. If people are recognizing me, I'm more valuable. If I'm getting more awards, more marks and stuff like that, I'm more valuable. So the output is very tied to this self-worth, and when that is the case, ease cannot happen. Because ease is an understanding that my self-worth is different and separate from my output, from my work. Because when it is tied, you will never be able to be objective, to be focused and sharp in your work, to do systematic work, right? You have to be objective in life, and you can't be objective when work is so personal for you, when money is so personal for you, right? When money feels like my like breath, if money is not there or output is not there or whatever, if I'm not working hard, I feel like I'm useless, my worth is gone, I'm good for nothing. Examine your relationship with output. And of course, again, if you don't know how to examine it, I have done a live event on overcoming overachievers trauma, and I've also done a live event on untying your self-worth with output. Please go watch that. You can just find it in my YouTube channel. Again, the name of my YouTube channel is Rianshi Agrawal, or you can just go into the event section of my profile in LinkedIn itself, and you can find it there. Like, just scroll. It's a brilliant live event, and you will find a lot of value there. So this will deepen your understanding of what I'm talking about right now. But I think somewhere you will have some understanding of what kind of relationship I have with output, because when that is toxic, ease will be hard. Because ease is what? When you have ease in your life, you will become smart, you will become sharp, you will become focused, right? You will take a step back and you will always find a smarter way of doing things, not a harder way of doing things. When you become emotional about output, that is when things go to shit, right? Because you're mixing your self-worth with work, no? You're mixing your personal emotions with work, you're mixing personal emotions with your success. Can't do that. To actually be able to succeed consistently, you have to remove emotion out of it. And that will only happen when you feel emotionally safe, and that will happen when you have done the trauma work that you need to do to separate output from your self-worth. When this is very tight, it's not going to work. Now, coming to the next part, whatever it is that you believe about hard work, I want you to start challenging it. So for example, if you believe that rest, like when I rest I feel uneasy, I want you to start asking yourself, why do I believe that? Who did I learn this from? Right? Start asking yourself this: who did I learn this from? If I believe that there is no easy path that exists, who did I learn this from? Whose face comes in front of your face? Because that's the that person's fate is what you're carrying. Usually it's going to be one of your parents most of the times, or someone who was a primary caregiver for you growing up. That's the heaviness of the fate that you're carrying is of that person, and you need to work with your coach to remove that. That's the energetic blockage you're carrying. For example, I have had a client who would always tell me that the moment I want to take rest, Rianshi, the first person that pops in front of my head is my father, who used to look at me from a face of disappointment every time I used to play. So we have had to work, right? Like, me and my client worked on it when he made play his play a part of his life. Because when he came to me, he came with the fact that, Rianshi, I've been depressed for a very long time, I've taken medication, I've done a lot of therapy, none of it is working. And we realized it's because his self-worth is so deeply tied with output, and it came from his father's disappointment, because he was carrying his father's heavy fate, right? And again, we did a lot of trauma work there. We saw intergenerational theme where we saw that his ancestors also struggled. So we had to work on it so that he could finally accept ease into his life. It's not that ease couldn't be present in my client's life. He wasn't able to accept it because it felt like dad would be disappointed, right? So the point I'm trying to make is challenge the beliefs that you have about hustle. And when you do that, you will know whose fate you're carrying. Work with a trauma informed coach with that particular aspect so that you can get rid of it. The next thing is take responsibility. Okay. Now, something that I have seen with people is that they go with a lot of blind faith, like their faith in something that they're not working for is higher than something that they actually work for. So if I'm not doing my inner work, right, I'm just hustling, I'm struggling, I know that, I know what I'm doing is not working for me, I know I'm struggling, I know it's not working, I know it's not leading me anywhere, yet I will have some blind faith that somehow something will click. Yet when I do invest my time, money and energy in my inner work, then I doubt. And this is again a sign of loyalty to hustle. Because when I do my inner work, I'm making my life easy, no? And I don't believe in ease. I believe in hustle. That's the ironic part of it. Unfortunately, this is something you have to get over before you invest in your inner work. Okay. Now this is something that largely you will feel easy around when you have done some trauma resolution in the beginning. So for example, I do a trauma healing session in my clarity call itself, so that my clients feel easy about receiving. But you're going to have to make a decision about this. Okay, you have to take responsibility of your ease, because whenever you start your inner work, your entire system will tell you don't do it. Why? Because I'm choosing ease for myself, right? And that feels like I'm betraying my lineage. That feels like, oh my god, I'm taking the easy path, I'm not struggling enough. So that's something that's going to feel hard for you. But you are going to have to be the adult there instead of the wounded inner child, and you're going to have to say that no, the struggle ends here, and I deserve to do my inner work. I deserve an easy life, and I will not justify it even to myself. There is no why behind it. I want an easy life, and that's enough. So you're going to have to take responsibility of your inner work, because only then things are going to make sense for you. Otherwise, there will be a push and pull. And I've spoken to many people who have spent years in this push and pull. I want to do my inner work, but I feel like no, I should wait more. I've not struggled enough. So a lot of people feel that I can't invest my time, money, and energy into my inner work because, oh my God, my parents didn't do this. Nobody in my family is doing this. So again, right, loyalty to hustle. I have to follow people who have hustled, because then I feel like I belong. When I take the easy path, when I want to make my life easy, I feel like I don't belong. I feel like I'm betraying that. So that's the catch 22. Like it's like a very it's like an oxymoron. You want to do something, and yet when you get to do it, you feel like, oh my god, I can't do it. It's like that. So for that, you're going to require courage, and this is something that you're going to have to do from an adult self. You're going to have to take responsibility of your healing, and you're going to have to decide for yourself that no, the struggle ends with for me and with me here. I will not pass it down to my generations after me. I will not pass it down to my kids. I will not pass it down to frankly anyone. That's a decision you have to make, and nobody can convince you for it. Nobody can do that. Okay, so that is what I wanted to talk about for today, and I hope that you learned a lot through this live event. I'm going to see if I have any questions, and then we are going to bid goodbye for today. And of course, to join me for the next live event, you can just keep an eye out on my LinkedIn, and you can find when I do it. Okay, we don't have any question related to the live event. There are other questions, but they are more about other topics, so I don't see them relevant to here. I'll answer them later. Thank you so much for joining. For those of you who are watching it live, and some insights may come to you later on. Some insights may come to you when you're reflecting on this topic. Feel free to text me, feel free to message me about it, and I would be happy to answer any question that you may have. And if you would actually like to work on yourself, and you would actually like to work on creating ease into your life, and you are done with struggling and you're done with hustle, then you can book a one-on-one coaching session with me. We are going to sit together, and we are going to deeply analyze what are the trauma bonds that you're carrying, and we are going to create a transformation map for you, and we are going to work on it, like properly work on it, and not just find like another hack or strategy or technique out of it, right? So if you're into deep inner work, then I'm the right coach for you, and you can always book a session with me. And nevertheless, if you still have any questions about this, feel free to DM me, and I would be happy to answer. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you in next live. Bye bye.